Loading Up Podcast. Game on. Perfect.
Welcome back to the Loading Up Podcast. I'm your host, Producer J, along with my other co-host, Brother Zay. What's up, my friend?
What's going on, man?
It's been a week. I'll tell you that much. It's
Oh no.
Yeah. I mean, this is aside from like all the gaming stuff that's just been crazy this week. It's been crazy at my job. It was just a lot, and I'm on vacation now, so at least there's that.
Oh, nice vacation, nice.
Yeah. So before we get started into all the news we got today, just want to remind you that if you're watching us on YouTube, you can like, comment, and subscribe. They'll definitely help us out. If you're listening to us on a podcasting app, you can like and share us and rate us and share us with your friends and all that stuff. If you look in the description, you can see our sponsors, NordVPN, W Energy, and Starforge PCs. You can save some money off subscriptions and products, have all your needs, and it'll help us out, it'll help them out, it'll help everybody out. So do that, and we will thank you, and we'll thank them. That being said, Brother Zay, what have you been playing?
Oh man. Well, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see me play Ninja Gaiden 4, get my ass kicked a little bit. It's a lot of fun. Dropped on Game Pass the other day, and it's been a blast playing that. I also played through and finished 100% Keeper, which was really good in the game. Absolutely loved it.
It's not indie game technically.
I mean,
It's indie styled, but I
I
wouldn't say
guess.
it's indie.
Well, it's not a AAA game either.
It's not AAA either, but I wouldn't say
Yeah.
it's Double Fine. So
Yeah. It's a Double Fine game. There we go.
there
But
you go.
it was really good.
Yeah.
It had, with zero voice acting, it had a very wide range of emotions while you're playing it. I was gonna record that, but I just couldn't stop playing. And I ended up finishing the game,
Yeah.
and I beat it with, like, I think I only had to go back one time to get one missed achievement. Other than that, it was a great game. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, Ninja Gaiden, Keeper, and I had this sort of for a long time. I had Outer Worlds 2 sort of pre-ordered, because it's only $30 if you pre-order on
Oh
the
yeah, the
Xbox
premium
Game Pass.
edition. You know,
Yeah,
I
so
completely forgot that game was coming out.
yeah,
And
it
then
comes
I
out
saw commercials
officially
for it
on the
saying
29th.
saying that early access started yesterday, and I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, yeah. So since I got the premium edition upgrade, I got that such a long time ago. I forgot about it, and I saw it on my screen. I was like, "Oh man, this game's out!" So Saturday, I spent pretty much all day playing it, and before I even left the first world, I was like almost level 10. It was it's so good. It is so good. Let me tell you this. It isn't a big upgrade from the first one.
Really?
The voice acting, the cutscenes, it actually has cutscenes, um it is a big upgrade. I'm absolutely enjoying it. Has such good funny moments. So now they implemented flaws in the game.
Oh
So
yeah.
if you're crouching for too long or too often, they'll give you a flaw where your knees will hurt, but you'll get 100% extra sneak damage. But it's 50% movement. It's so funny. Some of the flaws are really funny. So
Yeah.
if you just want to skip through the dialogue, you'll get a flaw where it's called foot and mouth flaw, where you don't have time to pick options. It skips the conversation and picks something for you. Uh, the flaws are really funny. But so far so good. Starting the story, I'm only on the second world. Um, it seems to be way bigger. And that's exactly what we wanted from Outer Worlds, the very first one. It's really fun. I'm having a blast playing it. Really am.
Yeah, I definitely that's one of the games I've been looking forward to the most. I would have pre-ordered it, but like there's so many games that like I gotta get through, and I didn't want to like
Really?
spend the money if I'm gonna get the extra content anyway, but it's like I don't need it for the early access. Like I do want to play it, but it's probably gonna have to be put on hold for a little bit. But
Right?
everything I've seen from it has been good, and I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah, it's definitely been a lot of fun playing it. So that's pretty much what I've been playing. Of course, I've played Battlefield as well. I haven't played much of Call of Duty because of all the games that have been coming out. I'm just like swamped with games and not enough time. So
Yeah, it'd be like that.
yeah, what have you been playing?
Um, so I'm still going through the Kingdom Hearts games. I'm still playing Chain of Memories, but I played a little bit of Keeper, like
Nice.
you. That I've been playing on my Ally, which runs pretty good. Um, I've been playing a little bit of Call of Duty. Um, I went back. Not went back, but like me and my wife still continuing Baldur's Gate. We beat Raphael, so we made it out of the House of Hope alive and with everybody intact, which was not easy. I'll
Wait,
tell you that much.
everybody,
Everybody, yes, we're all
including
alive,
wait,
including Hope.
nice,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, that was one thing that I had to freaking hide her in the corners because she has some good spells,
She
but
does.
like she's very weak. So there's only so much she can do. So what I would do is I would do a move on somebody and then heal and then go back behind the closed doors so that way nobody would attack her. And then I would just do that every time it was her turn. Um but yeah, so we made it out and now we're in the process of what are we doing? We're trying to find Ansor's lair. So we
Okay.
have to kind of like backtrack a little bit for that, but that's what we're doing now. Um I think that's it. That's the main things I've been playing. I haven't really like ventured out too much. Like hopefully with me being on vacation this week, I'm gonna like be focused. I'm gonna hyper focus in so that way I can clear my stuff because I feel like I've been on a I don't want to say like a rut, but like I've been stuck on the same games for a long time and I need to move on. So,
All right. Well, I'm expecting a report from you next week then.
yes, I will report back next week.
Nice, nice. All right, let's get into some news then. Um, lots of to talk about, lots of stuff happening online. Don't know if everybody is aware, so let's go jump right in with AI. That's right, Stability AI and EA are partnering to empower artists, designers, and developers to reimagine game development. So, Civility AI is the leading independent and multi-module generative AI company, and EA is going to be partnering up with them to bring AI into the game development world more than what it already has been. They're going to be really, really knocking heads here to bring it to developers. Um, I, I'm, I'm worried. I'm worried because I don't want it to take jobs away from actual artists, you know?
Yeah.
It's I feel like it needs to be used as a tool instead of like, instead of having to replace things. And that's what I'm worried about, especially with all these companies and their profit margins. The line must go up. So,
Yeah.
if they see this AI doing what artists would normally do, maybe they get rid of the artist and then I don't know. It's I feel like it's a slippery slope.
Yeah, I mean, so naturally, when it comes to new innovations in any entertainment or any industry, there's gonna be some like trial and error. And I feel like we gotta pay attention to who's and like which developers and publishers are using AI properly. Because there is a way to properly use AI. I forgot what studio it was, but they were basically showing off how basically um whenever they're doing models for like character models and stuff like that, if they want to make a slight adjustment, they have to basically like redo that area, and it can be tedious to have to do that over and over and over again just to make a slight alteration. But there was a developer that basically showed that AI like it kept where it was and just altered the part that they needed to alter without doing everything all over again. That's the kind of AI that we need to encourage more of. it's a tool, like you said. It's not gonna replace anybody's job. It's not gonna do everything like wholesale. It's used to make the tedious stuff more faster, thus speeding up game development, which has been an issue for years at this point.
Yeah.
I think Hideo Kojima was interviewed about AI and stuff like that, and he said he was open to using it so long as it's done in a collaborative effort where it allows the creative people to be more creative as opposed to just it being creative itself, you know? So I think that's the best way to go about it. And when people, because right now when people hear the term AI and anything, they start raising the red flags. Uh-oh, like we gotta hate this. You don't have to hate it. It has to be done in a proper way.
Don't tell me
And
what to hate.
so we're gonna get to hate, talking about hate later. But like when it comes to AI, I think people need to be very specific about what kind of AI that we're talking about. And going forward, we have to hold these developers accountable because, and trust me, I've seen examples of people of posting it's freaking AI, like pure AI slop, that it's nonsensical and saying, "Oh, this is the future of gaming." It's like, no, it is not. This looks terrible. Like, why would you even assume that this is gonna be something that people would want to play? So, yeah, it's gonna be, like I said, a trial and error. People are gonna test it out, see what works, see what doesn't. But ultimately, AI is here to stay. We can't fight against it. We can only fight to make sure that it's not just running rampant, because it's still like kind of the Wild West.
Yeah, I mean that's what kind of makes it scary in the first place for me in particular, because it's not just EA that we're talking about. Because even Krafton, the
Yes.
PUBG maker, they're the ones who brought Tango GameWorks. They're talking about wanting to turn Krafton into an AI first game company. So, but what does that really mean? What do
Nobody
they
really
mean
knows.
by exactly? That's why it's like it's the wild, like you said, the wild wild west out there where people are doing whatever, trying to make more profit by using AI. And it's like, is this really going to work out for Crafton, for EA? Are they going to use it as a tool, or are they going to just replace things so that way they can just use the AI,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm afraid of, because if people are betting that AI based cost cuts will significantly boost profits, are they just going to, are the shareholders just going to rely on AI and say, well, just use AI and fire all these, developers? Why do we need three developers when we could use one guy who uses AI?
Yeah.
So it is a slippery slope. It is a
It is.
scary time because yes, it is the Wild Wild West. We don't know. There's no regulations on it. We don't
And
know what
there's
can
no
happen.
there's no precedent either. So it's like
Yeah.
whoever is gonna do it first is gonna do it first, and then we'll judge it from there. Obviously, I think like AI in its primitive state has been being used in gaming or in anything for a long time. It just wasn't like marketed that way. Obviously, it's advanced very like fast. So
Yeah.
now we're starting to reach a point where it's just like, okay, how much is too much of AI? So we're
We
just gonna
can
have to see.
Yeah, and we can also see the advances in the AI videos that you used to create
Oh
in like
yeah,
2020. Where it was like that one Will Smith video where he was like
he's
eating
speeding spaghetti.
spaghetti
Yeah,
and it was just like all over the place and it obviously looked fake. But now they have things like Sora and Sora 2 that are out there creating whole scenarios that look absolutely real.
yeah. I've gotten like I've been falling for some of them, and it's kind of scary that how good they are.
Exactly, and that's where I worry when it concerns video games, because video games like Keeper, it's a work of art. I mean, all video games are art, but then there are extra artsy games like Keeper, and it's like, could you imagine if they used AI to try and create Keeper? It wouldn't have been such an amazing game as it is. And that's just me. So when it comes to AI, I'm really skeptical. I am throwing up the red flags and I am hating it. If a game comes out in the future and it says, "Oh, it's made with generative AI," I'm
Well,
probably
see,
not gonna buy it.
Well, that's the thing. It's generative AI that you're against, which everybody should be against. But not everything is generative AI. So I think that's why I'm saying that we have to kind of like pay attention to what kind of AI is being used.
Don't be devil's advocate here. I hate it. Nah. No, I understand. I understand. I'm just skeptical, you know? That's just my nature. I'm skeptical.
It's okay to be skeptical. Like I said, it's still new. A lot of this has been unproven. So we're gonna see all the failures, we're gonna see all the successes, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to some news. We have a whole article that was done with Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer in Japan, and the whole article is in Japanese. We got Google to translate it for us. We'll talk a little bit about what was discussed um, with Phil Spencer, and most of it has to pertain to the Japanese market and Asia overall, and it shows that Microsoft is full steam ahead with their partners in Asia, and they're constantly working toward making their partnerships even stronger, so that way they can bring more games and get more gamers on the Xbox platform, and not just the consoles, because Xbox playtime overall, whether it be cloud, console, whatever they or on PC, has jumped over 20% over the past year, which is a significant upgrade considering they didn't have a market in Japan or the greater Asia at all before. It was very, very slim. So they talk about the the planned release of Kojima's OD and how things were put on hold because of the guild strike in 2023, so they couldn't hire certain actors and couldn't get certain things done. So that's why the game has sort of been um held back a little bit, but he's giving full creative control to Kojima and the teams to make it, and when it is ready they will release it. There's obviously no date yet, but it was nice to see that they're super excited for OD as well, because that game looks absolutely insane.
Yes, it
um
does.
it does. They go on to talk about games from the game show, the Tokyo Game Show, how it was heavily focused on Japan, including um they have Flight Simulator, the Japanese content that they have coming out for it, and of course the big surprise or lack of was Forza Horizon 6
Yeah.
being in Japan. Um they even talk about how the partners for Asus and how that product has been released and how it has been doing very well even on the Japanese side. I tell you, in Japan they like things smaller, that's why the Series S
Yeah.
sells well over there. So having a PC handheld is perfect for them. So they're selling really well in Japan, according to the article. So like things are going well for Japan and Xbox. Their partnerships are stronger, and they even asked him, you often visit Japan or Japanese manufacturers. And Phil Spencer goes on to tell them that the only way to make a stronger connection with manufacturers and game developers is to come and speak to them personally and to show them that they're a part of the Xbox community. That was like really big. You don't see gaming CEOs going to developers often and speaking to them. We know they did this with Platinum Games and obviously because of the release of Ninja Gaiden 4. But they're out there. Phil Spencer himself is out there with the team, Sarah Bond and Matt Booty, just bringing more Xbox to Japan.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of tough to. So on the one hand, it's very important and crucial for Xbox to branch out and continue to branch out to other regions, specifically Japan, which they've been very lacking up until recently. Um, but at the same time, and this goes like beyond just the like the Japanese uh influence that they're trying to instill. Um, that one of the issues that Xbox tends to have is that they're almost too transparent and they do a lot of interviews. And then the problem with doing these interviews, while we appreciate it for them giving this information out to us, it could come and bite them in the ass later because they'll say something once or in an interview, and then later on when things happen that are not what happened, like what they said was going to happen or the way they said it was, then people go online and say, "Oh, but you said this in this interview." And it's like, yes, they did say that at that time, and at the time it was true, but things change. So like it's hard for me to, especially after like what just happened with all the negativity that's been happening with Xbox. And like I get that it's a lot of it is dumb and stupid, but the reason why people do it is because for a lot of people it's believable. So I think Xbox needs to be more like, I know this is not like anything related to the interview itself. It's just me like talking about overall
Yeah.
like how Xbox handles PR and all that stuff. Um they need to be more strategic with this stuff, especially when it comes to important regions in Japan, because maybe right now they're saying that they're gung ho on Japan, but like, what if they decide to not do that, be that like anymore? You know, like what if they decide to pull funding from Japanese expansion and do all that? Because it's like a lot of stuff just happens at Microsoft nowadays. It's just like there's no rhyme or reason, and I don't know. I fear, not fear, but like I don't like being optimistic and then Xbox just slapping us in the face, you know? So um yeah.
That's it.
But
Xbox is dead.
no, I'm not saying X
No, stop.
but
I'm just playing.
going back to this interview, like I said, it is important that Xbox continue to collaborate and work with these Japanese developers, because that is one of the sticking points that a lot of players have had with Xbox, is that there's not enough Japanese games, and there's been a bunch of Japanese games that skip Xbox altogether, and that's an issue. So I'm glad that they're still working on it. I just want them to be aware about the moves that they're making now and how it can be used against them later, if the higher ups decide something that they want to change,
I mean,
but
it happens all the time, right? People say one thing, and it's not that it's a lie. It's just that things change. Not everything, especially when it comes to corporations and in the game industry. Not everything's set in stone. Things can change. I think people in general need to like pump the brakes a little bit. Like things are allowed to change. Change may be scary for some, but things are allowed to change.
yeah. So I mean, let's see that they continue this trend
Yeah.
of supporting the Japanese developers, especially like with a big release like Ninja Gaiden, and future releases with OD and stuff like that, which I'm definitely looking forward to. That game, I have no idea how like it's gonna play, because we literally just seen like cinematics and stuff like that, but that was enough to get me hyped. Like I really want that game to be like the best it can be. It really does feel like it's what PT was supposed to be.
I'm sure it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
Let's continue because this past week was Fallout Day, and they had a big sort of presentation. They talked all things about Fallout, new updates, a new version for Fallout 4, a new Fallout New Vegas bundle, and so of course more stuff for Fallout 76, and. They had a broadcast at the end from Todd Howard. It was a recorded broadcast. He wasn't there live, but he recorded something. And just real quick, what he said he's watching this from his desk and reading the chat. He hears what everybody's saying, his things he wants you wants us to know is that they read it all and just know that we're working on even more games. He says we're looking forward to the day when we can share that with everybody. And people's hopes that they're working on either Fallout 3 Remastered or Fallout 5, right, or even finishing up Elder Scrolls 6, because it's been 5+ years since we heard anything about that.
Yeah.
So Fallout Day was big because they announced as well the Switch 2 version of Fallout 4. So that's nice for the Switch 2 only players. Um that game, I like that game. A lot of people didn't. They thought it was too they didn't, they just liked Fallout 3 and New Vegas way more compared to 4, so they gave it shit, but I really liked 4. 4 was good.
I like
It
4
was,
too. I thought it was like overhated.
yeah, a lot of things are overhated. I know when Fallout 4 came out, it wasn't part of Microsoft, but I think a lot of things at Microsoft Gaming or Xbox are overhated in general.
Yeah.
Um, we'll talk a little bit about that later. um, we gotta just keep moving on right here. We have Microsoft's and Xbox team snaps a 4-year losing streak for key targets that was tied to the CEO's pay. Let's talk about it. This was a weird one. I had no idea they had targets toward CEO pays.
No,
But
that's how it works. Like the CEOs, they get bonuses based off of performance. So they
Yeah.
don't hit those targets, then CEOs don't get their bonuses, which oh my god, the worst thing ever, right?
well, the target for the year was 14% annual growth in Xbox content and services revenue, and they achieved that with a 15%. So that means it's gonna get a $50 million worth of stocks in play for this year. That was just crazy. Um, yeah. So like you said, they do this, but like 50% for where they thought they were gonna probably hit like 12, probably 13. They said, all right, let's put it at 14%. Boom, they hit 15% profit. It's really good for Xbox, but also obviously Satya Nadella is really happy right now.
Yeah.
He gets his pay bump, but they did talk about how Microsoft Studios will start getting more money and raises because of this as well, which is nice. It's not just about the CEO, so that's also good.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that they're able to reach their targets now. I would imagine it's because they've been like gung ho about their third party expansion for like PlayStation and Switch and stuff like that. So I think that's helped them reach that profitability. Um, and it's only gonna get higher because we just found out like recently that supposedly they're upping that 15% to 30%. And yeah, that's way above. They're gonna double it. They want to double it. I don't know what the timeline is for
Yeah.
that, but to go from 15% to 30 is crazy. And I don't know how they're gonna do that. I would assume. I mean, we already kind of. I mean, we're gonna talk about it later, but like everything's going everywhere. Like that's the only way that they're gonna be able to hit that number. And whatever their next gen consoles are, they're not gonna take a loss on that.
Oh
So
no, no,
so
that's
we expect to pay a pretty penny for it. Um,
but the thing is with that 30% profit margin from the report, that report came from Bloomberg, and it came out of it was from Amy Hood, the chief financial officer at Microsoft. She set the target to 30%. They call it accountability margins. Um, but this is the thing. It's not just Microsoft. It's not just Xbox. It says across the company, including Xbox. So if Microsoft itself reaches over 30% for profitability, then it's okay. I think people are confusing that like Xbox has to reach 30% only. But in the report itself from Bloomberg, it says across the company, which is including
Okay.
Xbox. So if Microsoft itself, Xbox, if Microsoft itself is asking for 30%, Xbox brings out 15% because they did it this year. They brought out 15% profitability. That means all the other people just have, and all the other, sections of Microsoft have to generate just 15%. I think it's doable because when you're looking at it like, oh, it's across the whole company, then maybe it's doable. But if you're asking that specifically for Xbox, it's absolutely impossible because the past averages have only been between like 17 to 22%. And we're talking about other big companies that are getting that, people who make money. So if we're just talking Xbox, it's impossible. I do not see that happening at all. But if we're talking about the whole company, it's doable.
Okay, that actually makes a lot more sense because I personally didn't read the article. I was just going off of base like what everybody else was reacting towards it. But
Of course.
that's my fault. Like that's what I get for just reading the headline, you know. But
Yeah. I mean, that's
um
that's been the case online. Everybody says Xbox will never reach 30%, but it's not just Xbox we're talking about. We're talking about the whole entire company of Microsoft. If Xbox can do this year 15%, right, by themselves, we're not talking about the rest of Microsoft. Microsoft as a whole should be able to reach that 30% because just 50% more from the rest of the divisions of Microsoft. I think they're really banking on AI because obviously we know they just dropped 80 billion to AI. I think
yeah,
they're really banking on AI to make a big part of the profit.
which
Um
I don't see how that can be possible. Like most people who use AI aren't willing to pay for it. So they have to find revenue somewhere. So I don't know. Maybe there is a way to do it, but I just don't see it. But then again, I don't. I'm not in those conversations. I don't know what
yeah,
they're talking about.
yeah.
So
My one big wish was that people actually sat back and read the whole article. Because as we're talking about, I was reading through it and I'm like, oh, but this is for the whole of Microsoft, not just Xbox. So I didn't get the whole big hate behind it. I was like, at first I was like, man, that's gonna be impossible. Maybe Microsoft really is dead at this
yeah,
point.
yeah,
But when you get through the details and out of the mud of Twitter, you really get to see like, okay, this is probably possible. They just hit 15% profit margins. They're getting pay bumps and stuff. Satya Nadella is getting his stock options. He's getting extra 50 million. So I feel like this is definitely possible. Like this is okay. Am I
yeah.
wrong to say that? Like,
No, no,
do
no.
I
That's
sound like an Xbox shill here?
well, like you said. If Xbox alone was able to hit 15%, then it stands to reason that other areas can match it. You know, if
Yeah.
combined. So I don't. We don't know the specifics. Microsoft would know all that, so I guess we'll see more about that when it comes to their financials when that comes out every quarter. But again, we don't know what the timeline is for this. It
Yeah.
could be 4 years. It could be 1 year. I don't
I
know.
mean, if it's 4 years, they can make 30% in 4 years for crying out loud. Something's wrong.
Yeah,
Especially, I mean, I think they're set to hit like what is it, $6-7 trillion in the market right now. I feel like they'll hit it. They'll be fine.
yeah,
You know. All right, let's move on from Microsoft's financials.
yes,
We have well, we're gonna get a little bit back into, we're talking about Xbox next gen consoles. So the president of Xbox, Sarah Bond, went on an interview. She did a 8-minute interview, and it was a little bit telling. They asked her about the next gen consoles, and her response was she didn't want to give away too much, but the next gen console will be a very premium, high-end curated experience. And she goes, we're starting to see some of the thinking we have in the handheld, meaning the Asus ROG Xbox Ally X. So we get to sort of like a little glimpse based off that one sentence from this interview from Sarah Bond. A very premium, high end curated experience, meaning it's probably going to be expensive and it's probably going to have it be open source in the sense that you can probably load up Steam, load up Epic Games, have all your your games set to one place, much like the Xbox app on the PC. If they're not, based off her one sentence, they're not going that way, it will already fail, because this is what I think should happen. It should be that way. It should be basically a PC, but curated for the console gamers, so make it a little bit easier stepping stone to that, PC market.
Right. And I think, like I said before, I do think Xbox or Microsoft is not going to subsidize the next gen consoles too much, because we've already seen examples from Xbox and PlayStation that gamers are willing to spend a premium on a product if they deem it worthy. So if this product or this next gen console is worthy of a price, people will pay it. Just like with like PC graphics cards or stuff like that. Like, yes, it's crazy expensive, but people are willing to pay it because they know it's worth it. If the next gen Xbox is something that is worth the price, then people will pay it. So I don't like this whole idea that consoles need to be cheap, because and maybe it's just because like I'm in a position where like I don't have to necessarily worry about prices like that. Um, so
Big baller
maybe
here.
no, I mean I'm not trying to say like, oh, I got it like that. I make a modest living, but it's
Yeah.
like I know there's other people out there who don't, and their access to gaming is very limited. And from what we've heard over the past like year or so, is that what Xbox is planning is not just going to be the high end. Like, we are still going to see like maybe like, I don't want to say a Series S version where it's like lower powered, but I do think we'll see a lower entry point, but we're also going to see a higher entry point. Like, we seen it with the Xbox Ally. Like, they have two SKUs. They have the regular version, and then they have the X version. So I think that's going to be their I guess standard or structure, where they're going to release two SKUs, one lower I don't want to say lower powered, because I don't think they should release a lower powered device, because that causes a lot of issues. And with compatibility, there was a whole bunch of, I know that like the Series S did ultimately help developers optimize their games, but knowing developers, they don't want to do that because that takes more time. So um for the developers sake, I hope that they don't do that, so that way there's less of an excuse to port games to the cheaper console. But I do think there's going to be two SKUs, and then there will be alternate OEMs that will basically be like the Xbox Ally, where there'll be. I mean, this is not even including the Xbox handheld, which is supposedly on the shelf. We don't know what the future holds for that. They may release it, they may not. Um, but they'll let you know Asus make another Xbox Ally, or maybe they'll have Alienware make one, or MSI, or all that stuff, and they'll make their own version of the Xbox, and it'll be just like the same experience you get with the Xbox Ally, but just on a home console, or a home PC, I guess you could say. And then that'll cover the wide variety of different entry points that people can choose to get for themselves.
But
But in terms of what Xbox is providing, I do think their system is probably gonna be at least $700. I don't expect at that, and the PS6. I don't expect it to be less than $700. The PS5 Pro is the baseline. So we gotta go with that in mind. I don't think Xbox is gonna lose money on this console.
No.
So
Listen, I'm already saving up my berries. I I gotta buy 2 of them. So,
you gotta buy 2 of them. Go for your
well,
son.
no, my son has a gaming PC. He'll be fine. I'm talking
Okay.
about for me and my wife.
Oh, you yes.
Yeah. I mean, I have a gaming PC too. I don't technically have to get the next new Xbox, but where I play most of my games is on my Series X. And if a new console comes out, whether it be hybrid or whatever the case may be, I'm gonna get it. Even though I have a 4070 that runs every game out now beautifully, I will still buy the next Xbox because I'm an Xbox gamer. It's where I play my
Right.
games, and I'll have to get 2 of them.
Yeah.
But when it concerns like things like the 2 SKUs like you were talking about, I feel like the lower end SKU, so to speak, would be like a Series X Pro, right? It
Yeah.
would be more powerful than the Series X, but not as powerful as the high end one that they're gonna be like that PC hybrid one, right?
Right.
So it could be just like that. They'll have a Series X Pro, and then you'll have the high end one, which is what are they calling it? Magnus? I think that's what I
It's
heard the
Project
code name.
Magnus, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So Magnus was the high end one, and then I'm just referred to as the Series X Pro.
I mean, that's essentially what it would be.
Yeah.
And it'll kind of be like the stopgap between that and the Series X.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that would probably be the best bet. I don't think it should be like uh well, it really I don't know. We'll have to see. We don't know exactly what's going to be what their plan is, but I do think the 2 SKU, at least from a first party perspective, that's what they're going to hone in on, and then let the third parties handle all the other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna wait and see because I think both companies, Sony and Microsoft, are targeting 2027 holiday for the release of their next generation.
I'm still saying, well, maybe in terms of release 2027, but I think we hear about it in 2026.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they'll have a big campaign talking about their next console sometime at the end of this next year. But release date will probably be holiday 2027.
You know, would be interesting because we've seen Nintendo. They used to be, it used to be all three would release in the holidays to capitalize, on the holidays.
Yeah.
But Nintendo, the past few generations, have not done that. They've released it in the spring or early summer. I wonder if Microsoft would look into that as to not compete. Like we're already seeing that they don't see Sony as the competition anymore.
Yeah,
So
I
maybe
mean,
they just
yeah, the competition
avoid,
is Steam.
yeah. So maybe they just avoid PlayStation altogether. If they know the PlayStation 6 is coming out in 2027, what if they just release it in the spring?
Where
That
they get
way,
like 8 months head start on them.
yeah, why not? Because that way people will get a handle on what Xbox's new mantra is that, it's going to be the PC console hybrid, and it'll get a chance for people to invest into it early if they don't want to wait for the PS6.
That would be a good marketing strategy. Too bad it's Microsoft.
Yeah, it's Microsoft, so they're probably not going to do any of that.
Yeah, no, they probably won't. But it is a really good idea, honestly.
Yeah, it's because I'm thinking about how Nintendo does it. It's like Nintendo was unopposed. They released their console, and that's it. Like they have nobody to compete with. They're on their own playing field. So it's like, why wouldn't anybody else want that? Why
Yeah.
would they want to compete? So I don't know.
That's definitely a good idea.
And it also did work for the 360 too. They released a whole year before the PS3, and it benefited them greatly. So I don't know. Food for thought.
Let the man cook.
Let me cook.
Let's move right along. We have a canceled God of War multiplayer game where screenshots have emerged online. You can find them on Twitter, and it's very telling. why would Sony cancel a multiplayer game that's they're saying that it was going to be set to the background of Greece. So we have Kratos going back. I don't know what's going on at Sony with all the cancellation of their big games, especially with God of War's 20th anniversary. We saw them come out with that controller, which was bare
Underwhelming.
minimum.
Yeah,
It was
very.
it was
Yeah,
very underwhelming. They could have did a lot more with that.
yeah.
And now we're getting screenshots of their canceled multiplayer game, and it's just like, come on, what are they doing? What's going on over both at Santa Monica Studios and Sony? Like,
I
what's
I
happening?
I want to know. Well, maybe it was Jim Ryan who greenlighted all of this stuff, and now that now that he's out, Sony is just like, okay, do we really need to keep going on this? Because one thing that has plagued Sony and PlayStation throughout its entire lifespan is that they cannot make a multiplayer game to save their life. So it's very rare for them to have a good multiplayer game. They got it right with Helldivers 2, and
Yeah,
that's
but
it.
that's not
And
Sony's.
that's not that's not Sony's like doing. That was more of
Yeah,
Arrowhead. So
Arrowhead, exactly.
um so I don't know why they just don't have, and that was part of the reason why they bought Bungie, is because they wanted to have a leg up on the multiplayer side of things. And then that turned out to be a mistake because of all the shit that happened with Bungie. Um
Huge mistake.
yeah, so like it's like they just have terrible luck when it comes to multiplayer. And that's why they've fallen back on the big third parties like Call of Duty and Battlefield and all of that stuff. They make most of their multiplayer money from those games. And that's why they were going so hard on the ABK acquisition, because they really thought there was a chance that Xbox would make Call of Duty exclusive. So you can understand that they were just like, nah, that's our meal ticket. We're not letting it go without a fight. Um, but then yeah, that ended up not being the case. But still, it's just the fact that they don't know how to make multiplayer games. So like it does suck on the one hand that they are canceling these games left and right without it ever seeing the light of day. But on the other hand, maybe they should stick to their strengths, because if they release another Concord, then they'll be the laughing stock in terms of like multiplayer games. Like they will basically prove themselves. Excuse me. They will basically prove themselves that they are incapable of making a lasting multiplayer game. So it's kind of like, do they take that risk, or do they just cancel it and go with what they know, which is the single player games? I don't know. So I think their best bet would probably be to partner again, like they did with Helldivers, partner with a third party developer and have them make the game for them instead of doing it in house. Because the issue, the issue is that they're running into is that they're using first party developers that are used to making single player games to make multiplayer games, and that never works out. So I think that's their issue right now. They need to just collaborate with third party devs to make their games, and then you go from there. Maybe you can acquire them later, but going with third party devs who know how to make third party game or multiplayer games, that's their best bet, because it worked out with Helldivers. So why not do it again? I think is the fact that they want it to be their stuff. They want to make 100% on it. They don't want to share. So I don't know, but they got to fix it, because also, who thought God of War multiplayer? Like why was that a thought in somebody's mind? Like when I think God of War, I don't think multiplayer. So, I don't know. That's just my thinking.
Yeah, but you know, it could have been good. We will
Or
never
it
know.
could have been bad. I don't know. It's again, Sony's track record is not the best. So, I tend to be on the pessimistic side when I hear about them making multiplayer games based off of single player IPs.
You could be right. They do have a really bad track record when it comes to multiplayer games, but it could have been good. We'll never know.
It could have been good.
I'm
Who was the developer?
Oh, geez, it doesn't even say. I'm looking through the article now,
So, because that could be the determining factor. If it was like a decent developer, then maybe. But we don't know, then because
Yeah, we
I
don't.
do remember. Was it no? It wasn't Blue Point. There was a while ago that we were talking about this. It was around the time that they canceled the Horizon game, or multiplayer game, and then
Spider-Man multiplayer game.
the Spider-Man multiplayer game. I remember that there was like developers that they were working with. I can't remember who it was though. Anyway,
Yeah. Anyway, we'll we'll have to just wait and see what Sony will do for the next game, because the last game they had was Ghost of Yote, and before that was what, Spider-Man 2, God of War Ragnarok. So
well, if you want to count Death Stranding too, I know
yeah, but
it's
that
third
wasn't
party.
everything. Yeah, that came everywhere. I'm talking about just their exclusives, right?
Yeah,
If we're
first
talking about
party. Yeah,
just first party exclusives, they only had 3 games, and sure, the first 2 were good. Ghost of Yote, I haven't tried yet. Kind of waiting for a sale, if I'm being honest.
yeah. I gotta play the first one first.
First one was amazing. I loved it. It was my
Yeah,
game of the year when it came out. Um, but they're not pumping out games like they used to, and it's worrisome.
yeah. It definitely is something to take note of. That PlayStation's first party output is almost not even almost. It is the antithesis of Xbox's output this gen. Can you imagine if Xbox was still like in the exclusivity um side, and they had all these exclusive games just coming out? I really wish, I want to see that timeline to see what would happen, because like right now, if Xbox had all their games that they're releasing exclusive, it I don't know. I think people would have genuinely had to consider maybe getting an Xbox. But that's neither here nor there.
I highly doubt it. But
I don't know. It's hard to say not, because like it's so much. Their output is so much. We
yeah,
literally got like 2 games within the past week.
yeah, no, the output is crazy this year. So many games. I think it was like, if I remember correctly, it was like 8 games being released this year, and that's just for their first party stuff, not including third party partnerships or extra Game Pass drops that are throughout the year. So yeah, the release for Xbox is crazy, which is what we were supposed to be expecting for this generation of PlayStation, but it just never really happened.
It's because, and I said it before, PlayStation, they blew their load early. They released everything that they had within the first couple years, and then now they're like, we're waiting for the next stuff. Whereas Xbox, they didn't have a lot at the beginning, and now they got so much. So it's like, it's the antithesis of each other.
Yeah, it really is. Really is. Let's move along to the last bit of news we have here, probably some of the biggest.
Here we go.
Um Xbox's prized sci-fi franchise is heading to PlayStation. That's right. The last pillar of Xbox, Halo, will be releasing on PlayStation.
That's
It is
so crazy.
Yeah, it is the full remake, not a full remake of Halo Combat Evolved. They named it Halo Campaign Evolved, and it will be releasing on PlayStation. It is just a campaign, so no multiplayer scheduled as of yet. We're just talking about the campaign, and people got hands-on experience with it both on PlayStation and Xbox. Lots of things to be left. They didn't want to tell everybody that it was who was playing it, that it was still in alpha stage, so they're like, don't of course, it's gonna have a little hiccups here and there, which it did. It's running Unreal 5, so of course it's gonna have hiccups. Unreal
Mhm.
5, although it looks good, it tends to perform terrible because people don't optimize very well for it. But from what we've seen of the trailer, it looks like Combat Evolved, just in modern day graphics. They added some things like some of the guns that were not in the game originally. They added sprint, which is a big thing with some people apparently. Um it is now official. The pillars of Xbox will all be on PlayStation. Gears of War Reloaded, Forza Horizon 5, and now Halo. All the essential pillars from
Well,
Xbox
not not
games.
not yet.
Well, Gears of War Reloaded is already there. Forza
Yes.
Horizon 5 is there,
Yes.
and Halo will be coming when it launches.
We're
So,
we're missing one more.
which one?
Fable. Those are the
Oh,
four you
you're
we talk
right.
about the pillars. Is always Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable. Fable
True.
was kind of like the last one because it was always like they didn't really put too much focus on it, but now with the recent, remake that they're doing, it stands to reason that if that goes, and then we'll have all the four pillars on PlayStation.
Yeah, I
Although I
mean,
don't think it will because
it hasn't officially been announced for PlayStation.
it hasn't, but I don't think it will just because I don't think the studio is equipped to develop multi-platform yet. Playground, because if you look at Forza Horizon 6, they announced it for PlayStation, but not at launch. So
Right.
I do think that a Playground isn't like is not equipped to release multi-platform yet, but I do think it will come to PlayStation, just not on day one. For Fable.
That's fair. Now
Yeah.
let's get into this because apparently the discourse online is that Xbox is dead.
Oh yeah.
Xbox is done. Halo
There
is on PlayStation. That's it. It's
there
over.
it's this conversation is like so multifaceted. It is insane to like be a supposed Halo fan right now.
Yeah.
Because not only do you have the fanboy console warriors going at it back and forth about, oh, Halo, that's it. Halo's on PlayStation, console wars over. Xbox is dead. Like you got that. But then you also got the discourse within the Halo community arguing about if this remake is good or dog shit. So it's like I'm I'm at the center of it, watching all this play out, and I'm just like, this is madness. It's like if you ever seen a video of this is a guy who has like a deep fryer, and then he puts a bunch of ice in it, and then it just like overflows. That's essentially what Halo Studios just did. They took a bunch of ice in Halo, the campaign evolved, and put it in the deep fryer, which is the gaming community, and it just went all over the place. And it's been nonstop back and forth of, oh, this looks awesome, this looks like crap, oh, Halo is dead, Xbox is dead. No, actually, Halo is back and Xbox is back. Like, oh my god, it's been such a headache. It's gotten to a point where I had to mute the word Halo because it on Twitter because it was so nauseating to try and like see the constant back and forth of people just going crazy over this stuff on both sides. And it's like, and it over little things too, like in terms of the like the Halo community, like they're getting upset because there's sprint, even though you can turn it off. But then it's just like, oh, but why did you put it in there in the begin with? And then there's people getting upset about the needler having an ammo count on the back of it, even though other weapons have ammo counts, so it really doesn't matter. Like, oh, it's so
Someone
annoying.
I saw
It's
someone I saw someone was upset that they added ADSing into
oh
the
yeah,
game. I was like,
like,
what?
but then it's like Halo 5 had that and Infinite. So it's like I don't you can never win when it comes to Halo. There will always be people that say it's the worst thing to ever happen to Halo. No matter what they do, you can never please them. That is the problem. And I do not feel any empathy. Well, not any empathy. I do not envy the Halo studio developers because they have to deal with so much shit and seeing all this feedback. And that's the thing too, because like it's all online. But then if you look at the video that they posted of the reactions to it, everybody was so excited who was there. They were cheering and they were like going crazy live when they were showing it. But then if you look online, people were just like nonstop shitting on it. So it's just it's bad. It's insane. It's just insane. There's no way else to describe it. Um, as I'm not like a super Halo fan. Like obviously, like I love Halo. I grew up with it. It's one of my favorite franchises. But I'm not gonna go ahead and like be like a Halo purist and say, "Oh, Halo has to be this, or else it's not Halo." I would never say that. But there's people who genuinely believe that if you do certain things in Halo, then it's not Halo. Like that's not how it should be. And it's like then you got the camp where the 343 apologists and versus the Bungie apologists. It's like I said, when it comes to Halo, in terms of the community aspect, it is crazy. I do not recommend in getting involved in all that stuff. If you like Halo, just play the games. Don't go online and talk about it because you will drive yourself crazy.
I'll be honest. These Halo going into PlayStation, this combat campaign evolved has zero effect on me. You know, as an Xbox gamer, I'm gonna be able to play this game day one on Game Pass. It's a remake, so it's like I don't really care too much about it. I played Combat Evolve probably 3 or 4 times in my life since it's been out. Um, I love Halo. I really do. I loved Infinite. I even love 5, even though 5 gets a lot of hate. I just love Halo, and I'm gonna play it. And guess what? I'm gonna have a day one on my Game Pass subscription because I'm sticking with Ultimate. You know,
Yeah,
because it has brought me the ability to play more games. You know, I'm also I forgot to even mention earlier playing uh Power Washing Simulator 2. You
yeah,
know,
that just dropped.
the ability to play an obscene amount of games and games that I would have never played before at all if it wasn't for Game Pass Ultimate, you know? So I'm gonna play Halo, I'm gonna play Gears, I'm gonna play Forza, I'm gonna play Fable, I'm gonna play all that on Game Pass, and if I love it, I'll buy it because I have that option. And if people want to play and buy it on PlayStation, cool. Everybody should be able to play every game everywhere. I don't understand why every game is locked to a particular box. It is not the 90s and early 2000s anymore. This whole antiquated thinking of like console exclusives, it doesn't sell as much as people think it is. And why are we worried about the profit margins of these billion-dollar and trillion-dollar companies? Who cares? Buy your games, play it, enjoy it, have fun. That is the medium that we're in. We're here to have fun and play games, not
Right.
to not to hold them behind a particular plastic box.
Yeah. I do think that Halo going to PlayStation definitely is going to help it long term because one of the issues is that with Halo is that they tend to kind of fizzle out after a while because the Xbox community isn't as big as it used to be. Because during like the 360 days, like everybody was playing like Halo 3 and Halo Reach because everybody had a 360. That was like the popular console at the time. So once that kind of faded away and then Halo kind of faded away with it, its popularity dwindled and only like the diehard Halo fans were kind of like holding it together, which is why they kind of feel obligated or not obligated, entitled to being catered to because maybe they're still a Halo fan even through the darkest days, so they feel like they should be Halo should be what they deem it you know. But uh, it going to PlayStation is only going to help the brand, and right, even though it's only campaign right now, I do believe that the rumor is that there is another Halo game being worked on. I think it's still that that Halo game that is being done by I can't remember the name. They were supposed to release um a side I think it was supposed to be a mode for Halo Infinite, but then got canceled or like transitioned into a full game itself. I forgot the developer that was behind it though.
Talking
Um,
about battle royale stuff, right?
I think it was originally gonna be the battle royale stuff, but
Okay.
I think they changed it. Now it's gonna be its own thing, and I think that's gonna be the multiplayer game that is. I don't know if it's gonna release with this game or if it's gonna release a little bit later, but that's gonna be the next Halo multiplayer game. So while the Halo campaign Evolve will be the next well, I wouldn't say it's like a mainline Halo game, it's still a remake, but um it'll be the big single player game, but then they'll have a multiplayer game on the side, and then maybe later on they'll release like the next like full on new Halo game that continues the series and stuff like that. um but yeah, I they haven't really confirmed that. I will probably hear more about it later. They did say they had multiple projects that they're working on, and this was just one of them. So I do think we'll hear more of that. But uh, during the reveal, what was it? I think his name is Brian Gerard. I can't remember. The community manager, the
Yeah.
creative director. I forgot what his position was, but
I
he
think
did
it's community
say,
manager.
yeah, he did say Halo is gonna be on PlayStation going forward. So that means every Halo game is gonna be on PlayStation. So whatever is coming out next is gonna be on PlayStation. I do think it's gonna be that multiplayer live service game, and supposedly it's gonna be more Fortnite-esque, which I don't know what that means. Hopefully it just means that it's gonna be free to play when you can buy a battle pass. I mean, that's what Halo Infinite did, so why not just do that again, but better planned? Because that was one of the issues with Halo Infinite, is that it was just not planned well with the content. So yeah, we're gonna see that, and that's gonna help out not PlayStation. It's gonna help out Halo a lot because now it's gonna be on every platform, and it could potentially be as big as Call of Duty now because it's available everywhere. And yeah, that's ultimately gonna be good for Halo.
Definitely. I think it's good in general, you know. More money for Microsoft and Xbox to then continue developing more games. That's all it is.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like the whole Xbox putting games on PlayStation, this was kind of like the last game that if you had any doubts that Xbox is going full third party while still having uh hardware to put out, this was it. Like, this is Halo. This was the poster child of Xbox. Now that it's going to PlayStation, everything's going to PlayStation. Yeah, that means Gears E-Day, Fable eventually, and everything else that they have slated to come out later on. It's going to PlayStation. Now, what does this mean for Xbox? Because like, if they don't have any exclusive games, like what is there to, I think they're gonna go the way that Surface, like their Surface line has gone, where they will provide a product that will basically be kind of like an example, because we've heard from Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond and stuff like that that they see hardware as where the innovation should happen. Stuff like quick resume and like backwards compatibility and the auto HDR and FPS boost, stuff like that. That's done on a hardware level. That's where the innovation should take place, and it shouldn't be just necessarily on the games. So I think that's where Xbox is going to lean heavily towards, that their hardware is going to be differentiated with the features that it has. Now, what does that mean? We don't know yet, obviously, but one of the features is that it's going to have an open ecosystem, which means you can download Steam, Epic Game Store, GOG, all this stuff. It's going to have that, and I think that's going to be the next like big feature for Xbox as a platform. And that's going to differentiate itself from PlayStation, which I don't think they're going to do that. So, if you want an all-in-one box, then Xbox is going to be the one to go to, because there's still a lot of games that don't release on Xbox or PlayStation or Switch. And if you have an Xbox that has the ability to download Steam games, then that's going to be the one you want to go to. Like for example, one of the popular games right now, like my kids play, they play like Poppy Playtime. That only releases on Steam first, and then it comes to consoles later. But if you have a console that can play Steam games, then that's obviously going to be more beneficial for them, because if they can just play it on Steam, then they can play it. They don't have to wait for it to be on PlayStation or Xbox or whatever. So that's going to be the selling point. And I mean, obviously, Xbox is going to have to figure out how to manage that marketing and stuff like that. But as it stands, I do think that Xbox has the leg up right now, and it begs to question, what does Sony think of this? Because now they basically have their Xbox's killer app. Remember how many freaking game? Well, not how many, but like Killzone was supposed to be the Halo killer, and that failed. Now Halo is on their platform, so it's just like, do we see Sony not trying to, but like, do you see them trying to basically kind of one up Xbox and release other games on Xbox to try and capitalize on their user base? Because if Helldivers is any example, there is a fan base to sell these games for. So you think maybe they see like, oh well, Xbox is not competing, they're putting Halo on PlayStation, maybe we could just put God of War or The Last of Us on Xbox. Why not? Make extra money.
They definitely will. They definitely will. And they definitely will make extra money, because all those people that left the Xbox ecosystem in general after the 360, they jumped to PlayStation, but they never got the chance to enjoy those games that they loved. That was, like the next Halos and the next Gears. So now they're going to be able to play those franchises. They're not going to leave their digital libraries to go to Xbox. They're just going to wait until Xbox releases it everywhere.
Yeah. That is going to be interesting too, that like they are very specific on which games they are releasing on other consoles, or well, on PlayStation, cuz this, while it is a remake, it's a remake. It's not a new entry into the game, into the franchise.
Yeah.
And that was the same situation with Gears of War. And that's the same situation with Forza. So it's like they are being very specific about what games they're putting on PlayStation. So I don't know. Maybe we'll know more as we go forward into next year, as we hear more about like Gears E-Day and Fable, about if this really is like everything's just going to PlayStation, or if it's like more strategic than that.
We definitely will hear more though. And then I think that's all we have for the news. It ended right there, where we are hopeful for the future of all games and all gamers playing games together.
Yeah. I think anybody looking at Halo going to PlayStation as a negative needs to get a grip. Like that's ultimately like what I could say. Like, stop, like take a step back, realize what is happening, and stop being so pessimistic. Like, everybody's saying like, oh, Xbox is dead and stuff like Xbox is not dead. Maybe the hardware is being sunsetted. Obviously not anytime soon because we got a whole freaking next generation of consoles coming. Maybe after that we might have to have this conversation about where hardware is. But maybe by that point, streaming is just like the new way to play games, because who thought, or who would have thought that streaming would be a viable option like 5 years ago when this generation started? Not me. And I play literally streaming every day because the Kingdom Hearts games, they're not available natively on my ROG Ally, but they are for streaming, and I play it every day, and it works flawlessly. Like, I'm telling you, it is almost native. Like, if I didn't tell you that I was playing through streaming, you would have thought I was playing natively. Like, that's how good it is. And I keep saying this, streaming is like, don't sleep on streaming. It may take over. I know some people don't want to hear that, but it's gonna happen within the next decade or two. Streaming will be the main way to play video games. It sounds crazy, but it's gonna happen. But anyway, I'm sorry. I feel like I've been ranting for so long, so much of this podcast.
Sorry, we love it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so that'll do it for us. If you're listening to us on a podcasting app, you can share us and rate us with all your friends and stuff like that. If you're watching on YouTube, you can like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, if you comment, like, we do like to hear from you. Hopefully it's not some troll, because we have gotten those a few times. I've seen them. I know who you are. So and if you look in the description, you can see our sponsors, W Energy, NordVPN, and Starforge PCs. You can save some money off of products. If you support them, they'll support us, and we'll thank them, and we'll thank you. And that's it. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Later.